Forget Christmas, it's journal setup season, which is, as they say, the most wonderful time of the year. I have my pens, a marker, a ruler, and even whiteout to cover up any oopsies. This is my second brain, my hard drive. I rely on this block of fancy paper more than I do on my phone, and that's saying something. Join me as I turn simple, practical layouts into something that sparks joy and makes using your journal fun. Let's begin with the notebook I picked this year and why it's the OG Ryder Carroll one. There are a lot of good journals out there, and I've tried a whole bunch of them, but none compared to the Edition 2. The paper quality is actually the best, the price point is super reasonable, and most importantly, it has a few features that really elevate it above the competition. Numbered pages are nice, the stickers are very useful, but there are two things that keep me coming back to this journal this year too: the smart grid and the 3 bookmarks. You heard me right, 3! And I actually use all of them! The smart grid spares you the effort of counting your boxes. You need to split the page in 3? Congrats, the grid already did that for you. 6? Done! 12? Piece of cake! We avoid math like the plague in this house. I'm not doing any calculations unless I absolutely have to. As for the 3 bookmarks, it's actually the perfect number. One for either the index or the future log, one for the monthly spread, and one for whatever page you're currently using, which for me is usually the daily log. I never have to look anything up because navigating the journal when you have these 3 reference points is so easy. It sounds like a small thing, but I would have paid an extra $10 for this feature alone. Huge fan. The design team really popped off on this one. With that said, let's set things up. Bullet journals usually have a key, an index, a future log, a monthly log, a weekly log, and a daily log. I'm keeping the key, forgetting the index, watering down the future log, splitting the monthly log, and winging it with the weekly and daily logs. The key comes first. Mine is a bit unlike the original, but I love it to bits and pieces. It's one of the few aspects of journaling that I've not tinkered with in years. The intentions page is so important to me that I actually added 2 extra. I fill it with the 5 value pillars that serve as the foundation for my life and set quarterly goals to help me live according to them. Life is fluid and my goals and priorities might change in a month or two, but it's good to have at least some sort of guidelines. Next is the future log. I'll be honest with you, my cup of tea is a digital calendar. I do like having something to use as a reference point when setting up my monthly spreads, and it's good for tracking birthdays and other such events, but that's pretty much it for my future log. Bare bones, no meat on them. This concludes the setup of the basics for this journal. Every year I try to add something new to this section. A 1-line summary of each day, a mood tracker, whatever. But nothing really sticks. This year I'm keeping it simple. The heart and soul of my journal is whatever fits within each month, like my content calendar, habit trackers, goal trackers, health trackers, and my weekly schedule. So let's do those. The content calendar is currently the most important part of my journal, so I've merged it with a monthly spread for easy access. I'm very new to the whole content creation shtick, and I have to be extremely organized to keep up with it. I tried using digital storage and tables and sheets, and I just kept getting lost in the sauce. So here we are, back to good old trusty paper. Sundays are upload days and what I shape the rest of my routine around. 1 YouTube video a week may seem like a little, but wait until you see what else I get up to. I stream 5 times a week in different configurations, at least until I figure out what my audience likes listening to. I've been told that my typing is soothing, but who knows, it might actually be annoying for some people. I do themed streams on Wednesdays, which also takes some prep, but it's fun, so it's worth it. Goddess of Mercy finishes uploading in January, which is a huge milestone for me as I've been married to this project for over 2 years. The prospect of leaving it behind is massively intimidating, but I'll be glad for the freedom to work on other things too. Last but not least are my Instagram posts, which I'm struggling with most right now, but it's a learning curve. I'm sure I'll get better. Until I've figured out the rhythm though, I'll be relying heavily on this schedule. As for the rest of the month sections, trackers come first. My health, physical, and mental both are an extremely high priority for me. My baseline isn't great, I'm prone to burnout and depression, and my body is very adamant about refusing to sleep. But having strong, well-defined routines and good habits can make a world of difference. I start with everything to do with my physical health: nutrition, exercise, supplements and medications, sunscreen, and skincare. Then there are the habits that help with my mental health: journaling, the getting things done method, bullet journaling, and taking a daily selfie. Sounds silly, I know, but having a folder with evidence of how I changed is pretty great. I'm a lot happier now than I was a year ago, and you can actually tell by my eyes alone. Cool stuff. Now that we went over habits, we'll move on to other trackers. I rank my sleep not by length but by quality, since that's what I struggle with. I also have a mixed tracker for my mental health, physical health, and a burnout meter. I find it helpful to shave these into a graph at the end of the month and study the patterns to see if there's any correlation I can learn from. Last are my people trackers. Maintaining relationships, especially long-distance ones, is a lot of work. I try to have at least a few meaningful conversations with my loved ones each month, and I track them to make sure I've not neglected anyone. Again, this may look silly, but I find this immensely helpful. I don't always use weekly spreads as the daily ones tend to be enough, but it's better to start off with one and ditch it later than need one and forgo it. So here goes, a simple minimalist weekly spread. I use it mostly for time blocking and making sure I don't overwork myself. Seriously, burnout is my nemesis, and I'm so tired of fighting it, I'd really rather avoid it. Last but not least is the daily log, which is pretty empty right now but will end up being most of my setup later on. As for lists, I don't really like adding them to any 1 month spread, so I actually keep them at the back of the journal where they're easy to find. Helps me keep things nice and organized. Your journal doesn't have to look like mine, but if you're looking to get into journaling, I think this is a very good spread. It's easy to maintain, which is crucial when you're just starting out, and it's still pretty enough that you can derive pleasure from it. If you have any questions or would like to see me make more spreads, absolutely let me know. I would love to talk about this more. For a deeper dive into why you should at least try journaling and how you can trick your brain into enjoying it, check out this video. And if you choose to go for the edition 2, remember to use code SILVER for 10% off your purchase. That's it from me, friends. I hope you have a lovely week and happy journaling!